Alright guys, what is up? Welcome to vlog number 2 here from ZyoriTV, of course. I'm Zyori, the guy that makes it all happen. Coming at you with another update here. I want to try to give you guys vlog updates kind of as frequently as possible. I'm aiming for kind of a bi-weekly thing, 2 or 3 times a week. Just a short update, 5-10 minutes here and there to keep you guys kind of up to date with everything that's going on, with the companies I'm working for, with the projects I'm engaged in, all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of pitfalls in our industry, and a lot of them stem from lack of communication on all areas of the spectrum, internally, externally, B2B, B2C, all that kind of stuff. So my goal is just to at least keep you guys up to date with what I'm doing, so you're a little more clued in on my decision making and why we're doing what we're doing and kind of how we're doing it. Plus, I mean, I think it's a little bit interesting since I'm doing it, but well, maybe a couple of you out there will think so. So anyhow, it's been 3 or 4 days since the first vlog, and I figured what the hell, might as well start off this beautiful Tuesday morning with another video update for you guys. I don't really have too much groundbreaking news, but definitely some things that really haven't been talked about quite yet. And I have to say, I'm starting to get used to this kind of vlog format. Like I said in the last one, it's kind of weird for me to stare at the camera, be like, all right, ready, set, go, and then just start talking and have my vlog go. I'm used to just being able to trim out VOD from live content and use the power of editing to make myself look good. So still getting used to it, but it's actually kind of a more comfortable format because there's no chat to distract me with people flaming me. So I just get to focus on the camera, focus on all of my notes and various other things I'm going to look at. So it's cool. I'm envious of YouTube people. You know, casters like Husky and stuff. I'm like, man, he can just wake up, cast a game if he feels like it doesn't really feel that great, cast it again. It's like, wow, that sounds like he's living the dream. Why am I not doing that? So alas, here we are on YouTube. Anyhow, I want to start by saying some of the work I've done around ZyoriTV recently. Still a lot of updates that need to come on the site. I have a ton of web dev notes I need to get to. But I did spend some time this morning updating the calendar. There's 4 or 5 events on the calendar now. If you've never seen the ZyoriTV calendar, don't know what I'm talking about, go to Zyori.tv/calendar, or just go to Zyori.tv and click on calendar up there at the nav bar. There's that beautiful little right panel that shows you the countdown to the events and appropriate links to all of their details, and also links to the sites that have the original content, where all the brackets will be, or what have you for the particular event. So it is nice to see we have more events coming up for Heroes of New Earth. We do have the Fnatic Raid Call number 3 coming up. I believe that is coming up on the 28th, which would be this Thursday. And the semis and finals, the best of 3 portions, will be on Friday. So a very similar format to what we've been doing at the It's Gosu tournaments, and that's good to see because I'm a big fan of that format. Speaking of It's Gosu, I don't have any pressing information about It's Gosu tournaments for the month of July. Obviously, we've been running monthly opens and invitationals. We didn't do one for June, mostly because of DreamHack. I was gone, and that's where S2's focus was. I don't know what's coming up for July. It's Gosu is certainly willing to continue doing tournaments. All of that funding does come from S2, so we're still waiting on you know, a thumbs up or a thumbs down for whatever it is, if we're going to be able to do tournaments, if they're going to sponsor them again. So certainly that will be announced as soon as possible once we know what we're working with and what S2 has in mind. So that's one thing that is sort of left to be known, but should be known relatively soon. At least we'll know if there aren't going to be tournaments, so if we can, you know, at least have an announcement one way or another. One of the other things I have on the plate here coming up pretty recently is I want to start casting some more Heroes of New Earth stuff. When I first started, I was really casting a lot of scrims and getting into learning the players that way. There haven't been a lot of scrims recently. So the last few times I've tried, I've logged on and sat there for a few hours, and there's been like one in-house of just like mismatched players, which I don't really care about all that much. Maybe some of you guys do, but it's hard for me to get hyped about a mix of players where I'm like, well, I know they're not taking this seriously because they don't normally play with each other. But I did find some pretty cool replays. There's a new super team forming of some players that I'd love to cast for you guys. And of course, there are some scrims going on. We'll just have to do replay casts. So I'm hoping to at least give you guys some of that content. Like I said, there's a lot of teams training with Han Tour hopefully on the horizon here, and you know, obviously DreamHack with a lot of money on the line. Teams are going to be practicing a bit, hoping for more events to come. So I'd like to bring you guys some of that content. I know there are a lot of games that are going on that aren't being covered from any perspective, whether it's first-person point of view from players or from casters. They're just totally not being seen. So you know, my plan is once I get 5 or 6, maybe do like a weekly thing, like every Thursday morning, wake up and just cast my accumulation of Han replays we've collected over the past 5 or 6 days. And not because they're crazy games, just because they give us some insight as to what these players are doing, what they're practicing with. The few games that I do have already, there are some interesting hero picks. So you know, it'll probably be a little more casual casting, that kind of a little bit less play-by-play and a little more like inquisitive, analytical, bring on guests, sort of like an impromptu breakdown almost, more so than you know, hardcore play-by-play like DreamHack style, if that makes sense. So that's sort of one thing that I'm hoping for, at least just to have the stream on and you know, get some more content flowing. I do want to talk about DreamHon VODs because I've gotten a lot of questions about why aren't the DreamHon VODs posted. That's a very good question, and I do not have a good answer because that is not my jurisdiction. I am not an official S2 employee. I am but an independent contractor hired for one sole purpose, and that is to talk. I don't do any of the post-production. I don't do any of the decision-making with the production. I'm kind of lowest man on the totem pole almost, and I just show up to cast. So I really don't know why the VODs aren't up. I don't know when they're going to be up. I feel bad to the people that did ask me like 4 days ago, and I said soon. I thought they would have been up by now personally, and I don't know what the problem is. So if you ask me about it, I probably won't give you a good answer, or I'll just ignore you. Just as to clear the air on that, I'm sure they will be up in a very timely manner. There are some up on the DreamHon website, but I don't know, maybe like a fifth of all the VODs total or something. So plenty more video content to come. As far as events coming up, one of the last events I have booked for now is I do want to start doing a lot more Garena stuff, and I'm making a very strong effort to say Garena instead of G-Arena, because apparently that's just how you say it, and I've been saying it wrong this entire time, and no one's really corrected me until now when I meet the Garena people, and they're like, G-Arena, what the fucking hell? So that was a little bit embarrassing, but Garena. So there is like a King of the Hill style event with some cash on the line where a best of 3 will be coming up this Friday. It's going to be TT Esports versus Impunity. So it should be a good BO3 series. It will be at 8 a.m. Eastern. Singapore is exactly 12 hours ahead of the East Coast. So for them it's 8 p.m. For us it's 8 a.m. It is on the ZyoriTV calendar in case you're curious. And there's a link for more information about the Garena events. I do want to talk about League of Legends a little bit, of course, because League of Legends stuff is on the horizon. The original It's Gosu format, for the few of you that may have been following the original It's Gosu League of Legends plans, we are not doing that plan anymore. The original plan was similar to our Han style, where it would be 2 open qualifiers, top 2 teams, I think, move on, and then those 4 teams would be mixed with 12 hand-picked teams for a 16-team invitational that would go out through over the course of July, or 3 weeks out of July or something like that, with $1,000 on the line. We scrapped the format. I'm not a big fan of that particular format where you do a hand-picked invitational mixed with opens. I don't like that because that always opens doors for people complaining about, you know, you didn't pick the right teams, or this isn't fair, what have you. And dragging one tournament out for that long for only $1,000 just didn't make much sense to me. Plus, it wasn't marketed well. The first open did not have a big turn. It didn't look like it was going to have a big turnout, let's say, so we did cancel it. So we changed the format completely. That $1,000 is going to be put towards a show match series, very similar to the Hypercrew Clash for the Cash, almost, if you will. Basically, it's a King of the Hill show match style series where each week we face off 2 teams in a best of 5. The winning team gets $200, and they get invited back next week to face off against someone else, and the opportunity to win $200 again. If they keep winning, they get to keep all the cash. So $1,000 on the line. The more you win, the more you make. Once you're done, you're done. So it's just a 5-week season. After that, we're going to reevaluate, see if we want to tweak it a little bit, hopefully get some more sponsor dollars on the line, and buff up the event, get some new teams cycled in, all that kind of stuff. But that's kind of the plan. That is set to start July 5th. Yes, coming up very quickly. It will normally be on Wednesdays around 5 p.m. Eastern, depending on the times, but the first one will be on the 5th, which of course is a Thursday, because that Wednesday is July 4th. We will not be casting, well, I might be casting a little bit on July 4th in the morning, but we're not doing anything official on July 4th. Obviously, it is an American holiday where everything's closed down. So, yeah, starting on the 5th. There's also an open league tournament coming up on the 28th of July, so about a month away, but it is scheduled. I think there's already like 20 teams registered or something absurd. There is a link. It is on the ZyoriTV calendar once again, so there is a link there if you want to register. If you have a league team, by all means, check it out. $200 on the line for that bad boy as well. So if you were really excited about the original league format, which I can't imagine there are too many of you out there that are, because it was relatively undermarketed. Well, not relative. It was undermarketed. Not enough people knew about it. So if you were excited, I'm sorry, but I think this new format's going to be awesome. I know our sponsors are very excited about the format. In a huge market like League of Legends, I really like the idea of doing something a little different, a little more niche, a show match series instead of just another tournament series when there's already, TSM doing, $20,000 tournaments and stuff like that. That makes our $1,000 look like nothing. So that should definitely be pretty darn cool. But I think that about wraps it up, actually, guys. I don't have a hell of a lot more to talk about. Just wanted to give a few updates about what I'm doing. Right now, I'm just grinding League, desperately getting prepared to cast by the 5th and doing some Han stuff in between, keeping up my contacts, networking, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I've been. Of course, I have been streaming some of it, sort of hit or miss, either on my own 3D channel and on the Twitch TV channel. I do want to say that those two channels are... it's complicated. The way I picture it in my head is that I'm Zyori, the owner / singleton employee of ZyoriTV. ZyoriTV is contracted by its Gosu to do all their video production work and sort of be kind of a director of esports almost and help the decision making, do some of their business development, all that kind of stuff. So anytime I'm doing an It's Gosu event, it's on one of the Own3D channels, which you can find at own3d.tv/itsgosu. That's their portal, and that's where I'll be doing that coverage because they're sponsored by Own3D, and that's part of the whole deal. When I'm doing something just for me, just for Zyori, I'm pretty much going to do it on Twitch because I'm not bound to either of them. I have accounts on both. I'm not sponsored by either, and for me, Twitch is just easier. It's the one I've always been using. It's where I have the biggest following. So anytime I'm doing something just Zyori related, anything ZyoriTV organized is going to be, generally speaking, on Twitch TV, unless there's some sort of sponsor issue where I need to be on one or the other. Everything else, it has to do with just whoever I'm using. When I'm working with Honcast, when they're contracting ZyoriTV for that, we're using whatever channel they want, and that's twitch.tv/Honcast. So that's how it works. That's why the channels, I'm on both. But I have been streaming a little bit of League practicing. It hasn't really been too exciting because it's just me reading heroes and learning and playing with friends. It's really nothing too titillating, though there are some giggles along the way. But that's about it. Like I said, just hoping to do vlog updates a little bit more frequently for you guys. Keep that video content coming, kind of shorter, but shorter videos more frequently is kind of my goal. So hopefully that is appropriate for all of you guys. As more updates come about, they will be posted here, of course. I'm trying to get into the YouTube thing. I had kind of an epiphany, just like, wow, these YouTube casters really know what's good. They can just wake up and post a video. If they don't really like it, they can go back and just kind of post it again. This is actually my 3rd time recording this, believe it or not. So actually not because I didn't like what I said, just because there were lag issues because I had the settings all screwed up. So but it's cool to have that instead of being live. There's no chat to distract me, nothing nothing to keep me distracted from anything except my own thoughts. So very, very cool indeed. Enough rambling, though. Of course, follow the social networking, Facebook and Twitter /ZyoriTV. But if you have any other problems / want to check out everything and anything related to Zyori, go to www.zyori.tv. That's where all of my VODs are cataloged, as well as links to pretty much anything you would ever want to find from ZyoriTV. But until the next video, take care.